In Africa alone, there are 90 million people who are deaf. That's 1/4 of the deaf population in the entire world. Tragically, cultural stigmas and grinding poverty leave the deaf in a silent, isolated world, limiting relationships, language, and education. All of these things have made the deaf in Africa the continent's largest unreached people group. If the gospel of Jesus is to effectively penetrate this silent realm, the African church must intentionally take the gospel's hope across its borders and make members of this neglected community an integral part of healthy reproducing churches.
Generally in Africa, when somebody has a disability, perhaps you are deaf, people will be suspicious and they'll think that it is as a result of something wrong that the parents did. That has caused many parents and families to actually be ashamed of their deaf children, and so they'll hide them away.
The deaf are neglected, actually neglected. Of course, this is a disability, but you learn their language, you're able to interact with them as normal human beings. They're just like us, they're not different from us. Local churches need deaf ministry to be included in their programs so that at least even the deaf people can be reached out in the community.
To address this need, Central Africa Baptist University prepares African leaders for deaf ministry.
The Great Commission command is for everyone. Take the gospel to all. And it does not say take to all except and fill in the blank. And so it's really dangerous as a church if we have someone we would put in take to all except, take to all but. The way that we are serving the church at Central Africa Baptist University is in training servant leaders for Great Commission living. But Great Commission living at its core, the outflow of that, is going to be developing a heart for the least reached. And the greatest least reached on our continent is the deaf.
The first part of our strategy to reach the deaf is to train theologically equipped hearing Christians for gospel ministry among the deaf communities in Africa. Central Africa Baptist University is the only known university in Zambia with a sign language and deaf studies program. Through this program, Central Africa Baptist University provides hearing students with powerful, practical tools to engage the deaf community with the gospel. Students in the program take a series of classes to make them competent in sign language, give them a thorough cultural framework, and provide the biblical worldview necessary to effectively cross over into the world of the deaf. Reflecting the success of this program, an increasing number of current students and program graduates are serving in deaf ministries within their communities in Zambia and all across Africa.
When our churches really see our deaf friends as valuable members of the body, we are going to see completely revolutionized churches. You're going to walk in and it'll be like Paul says, there's not going to be Jew or Greek, there's not going to be hearing or deaf. It's going to be one body serving and loving together.
A second strategy is to theologically equip deaf Christians for gospel ministry within their own deaf communities. Through qualified sign language interpreters, CABU provides deaf students full access to its on-campus training programs.
You can have a program, but it's only as good as your end product. And we are seeing an end product where students and graduates are going out and using what they have gotten in the classroom for Great Commission living, for gospel advancement among the deaf community.
Africa's largest unreached people group desperately needs the hope found in the gospel. To help reach them, Central Africa Baptist University is on a mission to train this generation and coming generations of both hearing and deaf church leaders to be theologically equipped and practically prepared to engage and reach the vast community of the deaf in Africa.
It doesn't really matter whether it's a hearing church with a deaf ministry or a deaf church reaching the deaf. The outcome is the same. Healthy churches with hearing or deaf members who are actively obeying the Great Commission and honoring Christ until he returns.